Alrighty guys, we're back for Delver Mono Blue, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but wait, we gotta get dressed up for this list. There we go, Blue Cat making an appearance, of course, alongside 4 Haughty Djinns, heck yeah, but I called it Delver Blue for a reason, so our other creature is going to be Delver of Secrets. It's a 1-mana 1/1 at the beginning of your upkeep. Look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it's an instant or sorcery card. If it's revealed this way, I don't know why I read it like that. Transform Delver of Secrets into a 3/2 flying aberration. Pretty cool, man. So that actually reminds me, this was a suggestion in the comments to go ahead and revisit Mono Blue, but go for the Delver route instead this time. So thank you so much for the suggestion. It should be a fun one. Have a whole bunch of counter spells packed in, all 4 Make Disappears, for example. And check this out, we got all 4 Phantom Interference as well. So it's a 1 blue mana instant speed, but it has Spree, so you choose 1 or more additional costs. So for the counter spell side of it, for 1 additional cost, it's counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. So very similar to Make Disappear at that point. But it also has another one here for the Spree, for the additional cost of 3 mana. Create a 2/2 white spirit creature token with flying. Okay, so what that lets us do is kind of have more creatures packed into the list without worrying about seeing the creatures off the top to flip the Delver. I think that's going to be actually pretty good in here. I think this is actually a terrific counterspell, and we haven't seen it anywhere, so maybe I'm wrong. We do have more counterspells. We have 3 Wash Aways as well. So it does have a cleave cost for 1 and double blue. So for just 1 blue mana, though, you counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand, which is going to be pretty good for the plot spells, right? Or adventure spells, too, anything like that. There's actually a lot that's being cast that's not in the opponent's hand or anything. Other than that, when you do cleave this for 3, it's just counter target spell. Beautiful. We have another counter spell in here, 3 steps ahead, and we have 3 of them. 1 blue mana, but it's also a Spree card, so choose 1 or more additional costs. So for the additional cost of 1 and a blue, counter target spell, okay. For the additional cost of 3, create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. Okay, that could be really good to copy like Haughty Djinn or something. And then for the additional cost of 2, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Yep, that seems freaking terrific, doesn't it? Hopefully it does a thing for me today. The last time I played with it, I don't think I was able to successfully do anything with it. I think it just sat in my hand most of the time. Maybe that was my fault though too. So might as well finish going over the 3 mana spot then. We have all 4 Thirst for Discovery. Going to be terrific card draw in here. At the top of the build, more card draw. We have Intrude on the Mind instead of Flow of Knowledge. I dropped Flow of Knowledge. Intrude on the Mind is a 5 mana, instant speed. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Then you create a 0/0 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. So it's also going to be a great way to stock up the graveyard for the Haughty Djinn, but also a great way to get a creature onto the board. And again, you're not worried about accidentally seeing a creature off the top to flip the Delver because it's just another instant speed card. That's pretty cool. We do have another new one in here. We do have Jace Reawakened. I don't know if it's going to be worth it in here, but I just we're playing Mono Blue and I didn't get a chance to play with the new Jace yet. So here he is making an appearance. It's a 2 blue mana, 3 loyalty, Planeswalker, but you can't cast this spell during your first, second, or third turns of the game. So it has a +1, draw a card, then discard a card. That could, of course, be great when you're trying to stock up the grave for the Haughty Djinn's power. Got another +1 here. You may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted, and when plotted cards may be cast as a sorcery on later turn without paying its mana cost. So that's definitely noteworthy where it's sorcery speed when it becomes plotted. Some other cards to fill out the deck. We have 1 Slip Out the Back. We have a Metamorphic Blast as well, which we'll go over in a second. Got 4 Fading Hopes in here. Of course, we got 4 Considers. In the mana base, we have a couple Soaring Cities, actually, and a Mishra's Foundry. Since we're not too concerned in this deck about just having islands on the board, since I dropped the Flow of Knowledge. Another honorable mention over here, Tolarian Terror, of course, is something we want to consider. It's a very powerful creature. Just opting for the Delvers this time around. So the Metamorphic Blast is a 1 mana. It's another Spree card. For the additional cost of 1 until end of turn, target creature becomes a white rabbit with base power and toughness 0/1. So that might be great tempo to like take a flyer out of the air that the opponent's relying on for a block. That could be fine. Or take a really important swing away from the opponent too. And then the other spree cost is just +3. Target player draws 2 cards, so more ways to stock up our hand as well. Yeah, either way, I think it's going to be a neat one. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. We got right into that first game, guys. Let's go. Easy peasy. All right, opponent goes first, and no turn 1 Delver. We could draw into it, though. All right, we'll give this a shot, right? Totally fine. Yeah, as far as, like, excuse me, as far as mono blue goes, I do think this is going to be a neat version of it. So we'll see, we'll see. We're playing with a lot of new cards, too, and I don't often get a chance to play with a lot of the new blue cards right away, so this will be nice to see. Yeah, we're going to send the slip out the back, I would say. We're definitely looking for some of our creatures. Okie dokies, we have Phantom Interference available. And they play around the Phantom Interference immediately. Oh, is that one worth the counter? That one's probably worth the counter, right? The triple Scrap Gorger is going to keep our graveyard completely empty. That's brutal. All right, so we're gonna spree cost that now while we have it, right? Because saving that is probably not worth it. And we have 3, so we have Wash Away as the counter, and we have Thirst for Discovery. And we definitely want to hit a big counter. Like if they play a 6-mana thing or something with these double Scrap Gorgers. Yeah, Scrap Gorger keeping our grave empty is a little rough. This is such a good counter for us, guys. That's so good. They must have a second one in hand, right? Haughty Djinn. All right. So Fading Hope is protection for the Haughty Djinn in a way. Haughty Djinn is going to be a little bit of a weakling right now, unfortunately, until we find a way to successfully deal with these Scrap Gorgers. But I mean, Haughty Djinn is definitely the play for the turn, right? Yep. And then Tribute to the World Tree. Okay, this is going to be mono green, guys. For some reason, I saw Scrap Gorger. I'm thinking like Golgari or Jund or something. Okay, so Wrenn and Realm Breaker. Bouncing one of these Scrap Gorgers wouldn't be terrible for us. They're going to power up. Oh, no. They're just going plus for fun. Okay. So we'll bounce this. The opponent's tapped out now. We don't need more mana off the top, I would say. We'll send that to the bottom. Wash Away is pretty good. Intrude on the Mind's pretty good. Everything seems pretty good here. I think it's going to be Thirst for Discovery, though, as I want to get a good swing on the Wrenn and Realm Breaker while getting like some counter spells in the hand, too. Delver. I'm going to decline. Call me crazy, guys, but wait a minute. Wash Away only costs 2. Okay, I'll take that. And we'll keep the Wash Away open. Now we don't have a great swing on the Wrenn and Realm Breaker, though, like I wanted to. We could do the other Thirst for Discovery, actually, and go from there. I really want to keep that counterspell, though, I would say. This is probably going to be a problem, though. Oh, crap. This is a tough decision, dude. Okay, second Thirst for Discovery. Let's see if we see more islands, too. Okay, so this time we decline, send the Consider, and the other Thirst, right? 1, 2. So then we can play the island. We'll have Delver. We have the swing on the Realm Breaker, too. And we could keep Wash Away open, but we don't have the cleave cost anyways. I doubt that's going to be anything that we can actually use the Wash Away without the cleave on. So yeah, we'll see what the opponent ends up having here. I think that was a great turn for us. Perfect counter on the Caretaker and getting rid of Realm Breaker so effectively with the double Thirst. That was pretty good. If they get rid of the first Haughty Djinn too, got the second one ready. And a great chance to flip the Delver, I would say, too. Especially since that is 6 islands total that we've seen so far as well. Okay, opponent is thinking here. So the Tribute to the World Tree is a 3-mana enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under their control, they draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, they put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. But just dropping some extra creatures down could be super valuable for them. Even the Scrap Gorger into just one other creature could be really, really good. Because going wide against mono blue, it works. And then also, they still have some graveyard hate with the Scrap Gorger too, so. Running down the timer, unfortunately. They might have froze, honestly. You never know. We'll go ahead and let the timer run down. Not having protection for the first Haughty Djinn could have been more stressful if we didn't have that great swing on the Realm Breaker, though. It passes back, unfortunately. See if we flip this Delver. In the meantime, we will go ahead and pause to see if the opponent shows up. Unfortunately, the opponent did not show up. And also, we missed on the Delver, so we'll decline. Another Delver isn't terrible. I think Intrude on the mine is totally fine here. We still have 1 mana open too. So we separate this into 2 piles. I don't know exactly what it would look like. Something like this, maybe. What's more valuable to us, the Make Disappear or the Fading Hope? Probably the Fading Hope. Either way, the other one goes to the grave. So we separate that. Oh, it auto-chose for the opponent, or the opponent is here now, maybe. We now have the cleave cost on the Wash Away, because it's 1 less for the Haughty Djinn, or with the Haughty Djinn on the board. Swing in the air. It's going through, but I still don't think the opponent's here. I think it was just automatically doing that because they're out of timeouts. And we shall pause again. Okay, we're at the end of their last timer. Unfortunately, it appears that the opponent has left the building. Or they froze, you never know. You know, it's funny, as Blue Cat, we have a lot of people exit the building. I can't imagine why. Okay. Dude, I'll tell you what, we had great tempo. If we were going to flip that Delver next turn, which again, I feel like we would have had a good chance of flipping the Delver. We had 13 on the board already. And of course, Haughty Djinn can get even more buff too if we wanted to play the Fading Hope that turn as well. Or yeah, anything we saw off the top. Felt good. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Yeah, you got to give the opponents a benefit of the doubt when freezing is very real. And then sometimes like it doesn't even look like you froze. And you're just kind of sitting there waiting and you're like, oh wait, no one's timer is going down. That's odd. And so, yeah, that definitely does happen. And another thing too, like if they were trying to troll us, for example, they weren't dropping any emotes or anything like that. So it's very possible that they just did not have access to that game anymore. No creatures again. Opponent goes first. All right, I say we keep it. Totally fine for some early turn survivals here. Consider helping us find a bit. Demonic Ruckus, huh? All right. So with double Fading Hope, that could be pretty good, but it's not the greatest against haste. But it still leaves us open to some good tempo. Like, for example, fizzling out the Demonic Ruckus before it lands is pretty good. And we completely stall their turn. Delver on top, we'll keep that. Because we're going to need creatures. Get the Delver down and have Fading Hope open. If we don't use the Fading Hope, we'll use the Consider. Actually, maybe we should have just kept Make Disappear since we knew what was in the opponent's hand. Feldon. I'll take the 2. I'm going to go Consider for the turn. Delver. That's not going to flip my other Delver, but I kind of like it though. So I'm going to draw it and then hope that whatever's underneath it flips the first one. Hey, there we go. All right. We can play the other Delver and have the Make Disappear open. Swing for 3. Good stuff, good stuff. I like it. It's a great hand, actually. Oh, heck yeah. That's good. It's a good counter. Go for a Play with Fire on the first Delver. I don't think we're sad about this at all, are we? I don't think so. I think that was a really good counter. Down to 16. Ooh, buddy. Go ahead and flip that Delver. Easy peasy. I mean, that is... The deck was specifically built to flip the Delver. Maximize the instants and sorceries in here. Okay, we have a full counterspell on the 3 steps ahead. Okay, Charming. Charming, yep, we let that through. Gonna go for discard a card and draw a card. Guess they could find a 4th mana then, maybe? We could draw on 3 steps ahead. All right, we're gonna start with Consider. See what's here. I don't want the land right now, I would say. See what's on top here. More land. Okay. It's not terrible. At least we got rid of 1. Fading Hope the Feldon for a bit of tempo. And still have the slip out the back if they decide. So we do get a Scry here. The Feldon not hitting this turn's fine. We don't want to bounce the Scoundrel by any means. We go Monstrous Rage onto the Scoundrel then. Okay. We could slip out the back the Scoundrel before that happens. That actually could have been pretty good, but... I'm going to keep the Delver on top. Down to 12. Yeah, I think keeping Slip out the back for our own creatures is a little bit better right now for what we have. So swing for 3. Down to 11. Feldon comes down with haste next turn. 3 steps ahead could counter. If we want. We might just keep Slip out the back again, though. Big thing, though, they do know we have the Slip out the back. 4 mana, they could power up. Okay, so it's going to be Feldon. They have 2 available. We're going to let the Feldon hit. I think Slip out the back is going to be a little bit better for us. Ancestral Anger. They get card draw here too. Yeah, we're gonna let that hit as well because they still have 1 mountain open, and I want to play around a Play with Fire. Okay. So we can block with Delver on the Feldon, not the trampling creature, and we could slip it out the back. I think we just take the 5 here. That's not great though. Going down to 7. Okay, this could be bad. Maybe we wanted to do the slip out the back. Oh, Demonic Ruckus plot was the last thing they do here. Keeping the counterspell for next turn. Drawing 2, then discarding could be really good. We're just gonna see what happens. Nice, very nice. Get that flip. Swing. How close are we to death? We don't want to forget that we have a 2/2 flyer here if we want. For 4. But we also have 4 open, so we have the counter and the slip out the back. The 1/2. If we swing down to 5. Yeah, what the heck, man? Let's risk it. Let's do it. We have lethal in the air. There's a pretty good chance that they have lethal on their turn, but maybe we're able to disrupt them enough. We'll see, we'll see. Oh, Crucible as a land. Instead of just creatures. Demonic Ruckus. that is gonna land for sure, right? We want that to land. And then they power up Foundry. And they still have one card in hand, guys. So if it is, so we have the counter spell here. So all we want to do is slip the Charming Scoundrel at the back. And if it's Lightning Strike, they think they have 7, but we counter it. So it's 4 coming through. And then last card in hand is... Oh, we also have Phantom Interference that they know about too. I guess that's also a thing. Yeah, since this was revealed to them. But yeah, it's just gonna be full counter. Counter target spell, pay. GG opponent. GG, man. That tempo, huh? Wow. Wow, Delver really doing the thing. That felt great, dude. I'll tell you what, I'm taken aback by how many options we had. All right, let's go right into the next one. Literally at a loss for words at how good mono blue can be sometimes, right? And just how many different variations we end up seeing every now and then. We saw mono blue, like, just card draw, right? We saw that recently with the one crime, the 2-drop crime guy. I can't remember the name of right now for some reason. But then we do see regular mono blue tempo. We see mono blue artifacts, and now we're playing some Delver blue too, and Delver just felt so good in that one. No creatures in hand again. I guess that's to be expected a lot of the time. Other than that, I don't think we can complain too much about this hand, right? We have Wash Away available. Swamp, huh? Alright, before the Foundry... Oh no, we'll get Foundry down, just in case for some reason... Turn 3 swing with Foundry. I really doubt that, but I guess you never know. It would have been another island if we had, like, Fading Hope in hand too, or another one of our 1-drops, right? Just to, like, guarantee that we have all the mana required. That is a great counter for Make Disappear, I would say, right? That's a pretty good card. Okay, Wash Away is available with Thirst for Discovery. So if we don't use Wash Away, we'll go Thirst for Discovery. Alright, I'll counter it. I think while our counters can do the thing, we should do the thing with the counters, right? Okay, just Thirst for Discovery now. I'd say the double Intrude on the Mind. There's a reason we only have 2 of these. This is very expensive, and it of course gets cheaper when the Haughty Djinn's on the board, but with these hands... Soaring. Oh, buddy. Oh, Jace. Yeah, only 1 mana, so we don't have the Make Disappear, but that was pretty good. Alright, Soaring's going to be a bit of a problem. And then how do we want to do... How do we want to work with this Jace? I'm not 100% certain that this is worthwhile in here, but it's so cheap too, and it can generate so much value when it comes time. Haughty Djinn. Alright, dude. Now we're talking. So 5th mana comes down. Could just go right into the Haughty Djinn and have the Make Disappear available for 1. Or we go Jace plot the Haughty Djinn. Could be kind of cool. We still have Make Disappear available. Or swing with Foundry at the Soaring to make sure it doesn't get out of hand too much. Probably Make Disappear though, right? Yeah, what the heck, man. Let's plot the Haughty Djinn. Because that's pretty cool. And now we have Make Disappear. I don't know, man. At that point, we're just kind of like testing the waters with the Jace. Like, would it have just been better to play the Haughty Djinn? Maybe. But if the Make Disappear doesn't hit the removal for the Djinn, and like they get around that by paying the 2 easily or something, then the Haughty Djinn dying there just seems really bad. So taking the turn, seeing more off the top, establishing a Planeswalker the way the opponent established a Planeswalker. So pay the 2 makes their 2/3 obsolete then. All right, I'll tax them to not get extra zombies on the board. Because now it's just a 2/3, and that lets our Jace survive the extra turn, right? Oh, the Death Touch, though. That could be a problem. Metamorphic Blast could help out a little bit, I suppose. We start with the card draw, I would say, on the Jace. I guess one of the Intrude on the Mines, even though this is probably going to be really good in this matchup. Metamorphic Blast is just straight up card draw. Maybe it's Thirst. Actually, everything in hand is card draw. It's Thirst. That's what we drew, but that's also fine. So we'll get the Haughty Djinn down for free for the turn. We have 5 open now. Everything in hand gets a little cheaper. So the Metamorphic Blast is 1 mana for the extra cost to turn that into a little bunny rabbit. Probably swing at Jace. No counter spells in hand, but they don't know that. This Soaring's going to be a pain in the butt, huh? No matter what, we have to anticipate spot removal for the turn, so maybe we draw 2 on the Blast instead. Because that would be 3 mana, right? 1 blue, then the 3, cost 1 less. So 3 mana, draw 2 cards. And we'll have 2 open. We could find removal. Let's see what they do here with the Soaring. Yeah, draw 2, find counterspell. That's probably okay. Because Intrude on the Mind costing 4, what ends up happening here? We'll get the Thopter, that's fine, but then we'll only have 1 mana open. And, oh, I guess the 1 mana technically could still work, huh? We get the Jace because of the Death Touch. So we have the Blast, but I'm just going to let the Jace take the 2. No blocks. Sorry, Jace, we're not going to get to that -6 today. Graveyard Trespasser. Okay. Yep. So Djinn is going down to a 4/4. A lot of things messing with our grave today, huh? The opponent's at 10 though, so at any point, man, if we tap down too much here and they go instant speed removal on the Djinn, maybe it's still gonna be the Blast for 3. No, we're gonna try it. Intrude on the Mind. We still have 3 mana open, guys. Come on. Okay. So, they're going to give us this, so we want the Phantom Interference in hand right now. These go to the grave. Copying the Djinn could be really good. The Fading Hope for... What do I want the Fading Hope for? Maybe I just want the Delver. Maybe I want them to give us this no matter what, but maybe they'll give us this instead. Because they don't want our Haughty Djinn to get too buffed up. Well, let's see what happens. Sorry, opponent. With only 1 mana available. Yeah, instant speed removal, guys. That would be devastating. Okay, we get Phantom Interference and Delver of Secrets. Haughty Djinn is up to 8/4. We can turn something. No, this is totally fine. We're going to try to win with the Haughty Djinn this turn. So we draw and discard. We'll get rid of the Metamorphic Blast, right? Well, depends what we draw to, right? There might be... Okay, more land. I'll send the blast. Buff the Djinn. GG opponent. GG. Yeah, they knew we had the counterspell in hand after they gave it to us there. But either way, either pile they gave us, they were about to give us a counterspell. So if it was instant speed removal, they wanted to do it on the stack, period. But again, they didn't know it was in our hand, so it kind of comes down to, yeah, they could have just anticipated that the counterspell was already in our hand anyway, so it's really hard to play around mono blue. We know that very well, as it's just a constant like, oh, well, when do we play this? Or like, do we do this now before they stock up their hand? But what if it is protection? And it's just like a constant mind game. Brutal stuff, dude. The last game of the evening can go however the heck it wants to go, because this feels good so far, huh? Woo! And we're accidentally ranking up through platinum too, which honestly, that feels good in and of itself. Who needs creatures in your opening hand? Who needs them? Not us. Sure, why not? Let's keep it. Like I said, it could go however it wants. And at this point, we're just pushing the deck to its absolute limits. And it might draw really well here too, so. Prototype, huh? Not a bad draw at all. Turn 2 from the opponent is not going to go through. Pretty much no matter what they end up doing here, I think we want to counter it. Passing it back, yeah, I think the opponent understood. I think they understood what was going to happen there. Could also be, it could be Jeskai control, artifact control, right? Oh, with the Simulacrum synthesizer. Celestis. Yeah, we're gonna say consider, right? Intrude on the Mind is worth keeping. And make disappear. All right, 3 steps ahead. We have 4 open to create a flyer if we want. Yeah, who needs creatures, huh? That Phantom Interference was pretty good, but 3 steps ahead might just be a full-on counterspell for the turn, depending on what the opponent tries. I think Celestis is a super worthwhile counterspell, but I think that was their card that they didn't mind sending away too, so. All right, it's going to be 3 steps ahead, I would say, for the full spree cost here. I think that's totally fine. We still have Phantom Interference. Maybe it should have been that, but pass him back to the opponent. Intrude on the Mind is open for the turn too. Yeah, if it was Phantom Interference, because now they could play around the extra 2 cost on the interference, right? But I wanted to keep this. All right, so we start with Thirst for Discovery. Discard 2 cards because we don't have a basic. So Consider and Soaring City's fine to send, right? 1, 2. Slip out the back is a thing we probably want to keep here. And this is definitely worth the counter. That is a very powerful card. All right, guys. Do we try to look for a creature this turn? I guess so. Make disappear? Yeah, whatever. We'll go ahead and send that to our hand. Why not, right? So tough decisions. Like, because now we don't have that Phantom Interference ready and available. We also could have kept the 5 open here. Dude, opponent, I am so sorry, dude. Holy cow. Every counterspell hitting. Every single counterspell hitting its mark. Hopefully, Intrude on the Mind gets its chance here. 5th mana from the opponent. He's... the opponent's probably thinking, like, at some point, one of my cards has to land, right? See if they have a counterspell for us now. I think we deserve it. I think we deserve a really good counterspell from the opponent. All right, Haughty Djinn and something like that, right? How do you guys feel about that split? I think that's going to give them a really tough time. I think they want to send the Haughty Djinn to the grave, but then we're getting some pretty good value on the other side, so... And since Intrude on the Mind's hitting, we're also, like, whichever one they pick, we also get, yeah, a 2/2 Thopter to actually start getting some damage through. The opponent's pain damage was already doing a lot for us. Delver of Secrets. All right, buddy. There you are. Going for 2. They know we have Make Disappear in hand. So if it's like Wandering Emperor. 1, 2, deals 5 damage to you. Okay, so I will start with Thirst. See what we see. Excuse me, guys. Wow. Holy cow, dude. I don't even know. Make Disappear. We're going to use Slip Out the Back for the turn. And I want to get the other Delver down too. We'll keep one of each. We'll keep a Make Disappear just in case we need to full power that with the Casualty. And then we'll keep a Phantom Interference for the 2/2 as well. They drop a second one. They still have the 2. We go a full power 3 steps ahead then. Not full power, but a full counter spell is what I want to call it here. Pretty wild stuff, huh? A lot of tempo for the turn, and now the opponent has a free turn. That was a great turn from the opponent, as most of our counter spells require them paying 2, but they totally have the 2 to pay. Restock their hand here as well. Yeah, getting that Slip Out the Back to land, I think, is pretty huge for us. No Delver for the turn, unfortunately. I'm going to keep this island in hand. Actually, start with the swing here, too. Down to 10, get Delver down. Feeling good, but we're starting to fizzle out, and the opponent restocking their hand with the Mightstone Weakstone is really, really good. That's also a lot of extra ramp, so they are getting around our stuff effectively. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I changed my mind. I am going to play the island to make sure we have Make Disappear and both of the Phantom Interference spree costs available. Yeah, with 7 mana on the board, we now have both of them. Oh, 1, 2. So I guess first things first, we'll make them pay the 2 for the Make Disappear. What are they going to end up hitting here? No. We're going to let this land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the opponent's board. Yeah, they're going to hit the 3/3, and that's okay. Yeah, they have so much extra mana, guys, that our last counterspell's in hand. I still think that getting the Slip Out the Back was good, but maybe I should have still saved the 3 steps ahead for that full counterspell. On top of the library, huh? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make them tap out. And we're going to go you and you. Whoa. Oh, that's a channel ability. Oh, okay. Oh, nice, opponent. Yeah, we can't counter that. Is that worth the draw? Maybe not anymore, huh? I'll put it on the bottom and see if we can see like a Haughty Djinn or something. And yeah, we'll get a 2/2 down. Great plays from the opponent. I think this is anyone's game easily. All right, Mishra's Foundry would have been good to see this game too. With all this extra mana, Mishra's Foundry would have been excellent. Prevail 1. So Jeskai Artifacts putting up a good fight here at the end. I don't even know what the rest of these do. So that's an equip cost of 2. Yeah, Wash Away was a good draw. Just like a full counter spell for like a big artifact play from the opponent. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, channel abilities are pretty hard to counter. generally speaking. Craft with Artifact here. Turns into a vehicle. Through for 1. Cool. 2 other untapped artifacts you control. So they don't have to crew it for 1. They can use other artifacts to crew up this Blade Wheel Chariot. That's pretty cool. I can imagine the opponent has some tough decisions, right? They know we have 2 cards in hand. They know that our deck is just completely packed full of counterspells too, as we were just landing counterspell after counterspell. So that if they do have something huge, they go for the craft. I think that makes a lot of sense here. I do. Fading Hope's pretty good. It's a good tempo play. Unfortunately, it's not more damage, so they still have like 3 turns. If this was a creature, like maybe if I would have kept Delver, I suppose. That's noteworthy, guys. I would have played the Delver, and maybe it would have flipped by now, and maybe we would have been... Or played Delver this turn, for example. And then we would have been... If we flipped it, we would have had lethal on the board. That's very, very noteworthy. But it might not flip, too. That's not good, guys. That's not good. All right. Full power. Wash it away. We got to keep our creature, but now that last card in hand, I have a bad feeling, huh? Make Disappear just won't hit it is the thing. It's like they're going to go for the swing this turn. When they're dealing with flyers, that's exactly what I would start doing too. Fading Hope could hit it, but I don't think that's worth it. Like, I don't know if the Scry would be worth it. We're just going to need to keep Fading Hope for something else a little bit better, hopefully. Yeah, Mishra's Foundry throughout this whole game would have been so good. Actually, we probably would have won by now, right? I think there was a lot of moments where we could have potentially swung with Mishra's Foundry. Oh, right now I feel silly sending that Delver. But we'll see, we'll see. Land. Oh no. Swing for 2. Opponent still has 2 more turns, guys. We don't have a full power counterspell in hand either, so it's just Make Disappear and it's gonna miss. Like, they have so much mana. 3, 8, 10 with the Mightstone, Weakstone. Or 8 over here, and then no matter what, Mightstone, Weakstone can go ahead and pay for the Make Disappear cost. Okay, now here's Resolve isn't that great against us right now. And a land. Okay, this is anyone's game, dude. This is anyone's game. This is a really bad card to bounce back to hand, by the way. Because it has flash, and when it ETBs, 5 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. So we simply can't do that. They'd pay 2, yeah, and then they'd get around the Make Disappear. Has haste. Oh. At the beginning of your end step, exile any number. Return those cards at the beginning of the next... Oh, your next upkeep. So we still have 1 swing. Dude, we're in trouble. I think the opponent can easily get there. And like their top deck, if it's a creature, we're going to need to save this. I think they want to exile. Well, yeah, they want to make sure they can destroy our 2/2 before it's too late, right? Oh, artifacts too. Yeah, Mightstone, Weakstone, literally everything. Oh, yeah. Oh, no land. Oh, if the land was Mishra's Foundry. Guys, they got the -5/-5. They got the swing here. I think this is the opponent's. And it might literally be because... Oh, wait, I wouldn't have flipped Delver. We only saw land the last 2 turns, right? Well, the opponent's at 1, so I guess flipping Delver wouldn't have mattered. But maybe it would have changed their swing. They would have kept a blocker on the ground, for example. And we get 1 through in mono blue before next turn. Without Mishra's Foundry on the board. And if we did have Mishra's Foundry on the board too, again, they could have easily Okay, they go for the restock on Mightstone. Oh, that makes much more sense. Okay. So the exile there then. Come on, guys, come on. We're definitely fizzling out. The extra land draws were really, really bad, as we don't actually have too much land in here anyways, right? And Make Disappear, just kind of chilling, kind of waiting for us to discard it to something else as well, as the game has gone on too long for Make Disappear to be relevant. Is that going to be a 3-mana Steel Seraph? Has haste. They go for Lifelink, probably. And they're not powering that up? Or they are powering it up. They have lethal on the board, but Fading Hope bounces Seraph. They play Seraph again as a blocker. Either way, we want to get the Scry for sure, and we don't want to bounce that to hand. Very cool deck, opponent, first of all. Very cool. Haughty Djinn, you are 10 turns too late, buddy. Holy cow. All right, we'll keep you on top. Down to 3, and that is the GG's. Actually, would there have been a better way? Would there have been a better card for survival? Maybe. The opponent still has 3 open here. We can have them tap out with the Make Disappear, but that's fine. It is what it is. Full swing from the opponent next turn, and that's game. And no matter what creature we play, they have removal because of the Nahiri's Resolve. Nahiri's Resolve, once it gets onto the board, is pretty wild, dude. That's good stuff, huh? When you have all these extra ETBs and everything as well. Really neat deck, opponent. I thought it was going to be some kind of like generic Simulacrum control, because we've been seeing the Simulacrum synthesizer pop up here and there, and Azorus and stuff too. But this is just really sick. This is not your basic Jeskai. Thousand Moon Smithy. Let them play this out for sure. They deserve the swing after all those early counter spells. Our deck did pretty great. We ended up just drawing very poorly, and it might have actually been my fault by sending that Delver, but I do think the opponent would have played out their swings a little bit differently if they knew that we had the Delver on the ground, right? I think they would have easily kept back extra blockers and stuff, like instead of swinging with the Chariot, which I guess could have kept us in a little bit longer too, but oh, good game. Good game, opponent. Definitely wanted to drop that one there. Okay, guys, let's go over this list again, huh? This was sick. Oh my goodness. So, Mono Blue, Delver Blue Tempo, whatever we want to call it. This felt pretty good, didn't it? I actually like the Jace as a one of. I definitely wouldn't go up any of these. Let's separate these a little bit. Boy, we saw a lot of land in that last game, but the game did go on a while. 21 total land, that felt about right. I definitely wouldn't go up any. I don't think I would drop any either. So if we do some separating here, Delver, Haughty Djinn, and Jace. Everything else flips the Delver. We also struggled to see our turn 1 Delver. Like we weren't seeing like our creature. We only have 8 creatures in here, but throughout all those games, none of our opening hands had a creature. You know, I mean, it's going to happen. There's not a lot in here. But I also feel like at least one of those 4, we should have had a creature in our opener, which would have made things a little bit easier. But overall, we ended up drawing pretty nicely anyways. So there we go. We got 30 instants, no sorcery speed things. Well, except for the creatures and the planeswalker, of course. But you guys know what I mean. And then 21 lands. So half the deck, you're flipping a coin. Half the deck is going to flip the Delver, which is really good. That's exactly where we want it, honestly, I would say. We can't drop more creatures. That would just be silly, because you definitely want to see your win conditions, and Haughty Djinn is a big one of those. Phantom Interference felt great. We saw there, if the game does end up going on for too long, if you don't see enough of your tempo swinging through, then they kind of become obsolete, where the opponent can easily pay the 2. So could we just go up other counter spells? Yeah, but I wouldn't drop the interference. If you're going up different counter spells, I would drop the Make Disappear. Maybe down to 2, go up like a generic Negate and something else, an Essence Scatter, whatever, right? I mean, your counter spell of choice is totally fine. But a big part of this Delver list was the Phantom Interference. Because then when we have that spree, we get that 2/2 creature, and we saw how that 2/2 creature was about to win in that last game there. It was very important to see this. And don't forget that cost 1 less with the Haughty Djinn too. Now, it doesn't cost 1 less per extra cost, by the way. It's just 1 less total. So when you're paying the spree, if you like pay the 1 for the bottom and the 3, and then the 1 blue as well, that's 5 total mana, then it would cost 1 less from the Haughty Djinn. So it's 4 total mana then. So that's a little bit noteworthy, I suppose. If not obvious, I guess going over it real quick there is fine. Intrude on the Mind, we don't want to drop this any, I would say. I think the 2 is actually really good. I think that Thopter is really good. The way it stocks up our grave is really, I just like Intrude on the Mind seems to be a good card that we don't see because Flow of Knowledge takes its place. But when you drop the Flow of Knowledge cares about your islands. Draw a card for each island you control, then discard 2 cards. Like, yeah, this could restock your hand. Like, it could draw you 8 cards, sure. But Intrude on the Mind gets us a creature on the board, which again, since we don't have many creatures because we're trying to flip Delver, that's really important. Flow of Knowledge discards 2. You're probably going to be stocking your grave by at least 2 anyways. Like, I can see the appeal of Flow of Knowledge too. It's also uncommon. Intrude on the Mind is mythic. So if you don't have the Intrude on the Mind, you could just go up the Flow of Knowledge. But what Intrude on the Mind lets us do is also play with a couple Soaring Cities and the Mishra's Foundry too. Do we want to talk about double Mishra's Foundry? It would have really come in handy in that last game. We were flooding out a lot. Actually, Mishra's Foundry potentially would have just won us the game had we seen it. So I could see double Foundry and 1 Soaring City. Is that something we want to do? I think the extra tempo on the Soaring City is great, but we have no legendaries in the list. And if you end up going up too many Mishra's Foundries, there are going to be moments where you only see Island, double Foundry, and now you don't have double blue for Djinn on 3, even though you usually want to go Djinn on 4 anyways, to make sure you have open protection, counterspell, anything like that. That might be obsolete. It depends what you're playing against though too. But also double blue on 3 steps ahead, double blue on wash away. Like, there's a lot of moments where you might just see 2 Foundry in an island, and that might be pretty sad. That's going to be your choice. I'm going to keep the double Soaring City just as tempo, because you end up, when you see 2, you end up playing 1, and then you just don't mind having the other one in hand as utility when you need it to return artifact, creature, or enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. That extra utility goes the extra mile. Maybe you're not using it at all, you just discard it to one of your other cards. Like Thirst for Discovery is discarding, bottom ability on 3 steps ahead too. Overall, guys, I do actually believe that this is a way to put mono blue together. Is it worth the craft? If you don't have the Intrude on the Minds, then this would not be worth the craft right now, because like, I'm not a blue player and I don't see anyone talking about Intrude on the Mind except for me. I feel like it's a good card, but I might be terribly wrong, and it's mythic too. So at that point, if you don't have it, I think just going Flow of Knowledge, and then after that, the deck is relatively cheap, I would say, right? Like, what else do we have in here? Common, uncommon, 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 and a lot of these are rotating out relatively soon, right? At some point this year, just a few months away, I'm pretty sure. So don't quote me on that. I keep saying that. I don't exactly know when rotation is. I feel like it's August, and that's right around the corner, but I'm not 100% certain. Phantom Interference is a common from the new set. Really liked that one. 3 steps ahead is a rare. That's important to note. Oh, Jace is a mythic as well. But Thirst for Discovery, Wash Away, all those are uncommon, and uncommons honestly do get pretty pricey as well. So a lot of these uncommons are going to be rotating out this year, Delver being one of them, unfortunately. Either way, if you have the cards, then I definitely feel like this would be a worthwhile mono blue to at least at least dabble with just a little bit, right? And then definitely let me know in the comments how it goes. Guys, what would you add or take out? Is there anything else we could do to make it a little cheaper too? Oh, Soaring City's rotating out this year too, right? So that's important to note. So yeah, if you have the cards, definitely give it a shot. And if you want to play mono blue too, honestly, had a good time today. Felt pretty good winning, and it actually, like, I'm the kind of guy who likes to swing with creatures, and when you're playing tempo still lets you swing with creatures. It's pretty fun. Good. It's a good time. Guys, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. Holy cow. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Alrighty, we'll see you in the next video.